strong feelings, attachment to life, desire to ransom, fair youth, the British rural landscape as a background, and a love story that would make even the most emotionless person shed a tear. In 3 words, Me Before You. Probably, together with a sequel After You, this is the world's most sold romance novel so far, conceived by the British emerging writer Jojo Moyes. Jojo Moyes, whose real name is Pauline Sarah Jo, was born in London on the 4th of August 1969. She attended 2 very prestigious colleges for media studies and also was granted a scholarship by The Independent for a postgraduate course in journalism at the City University London in 1992. For 10 years, she worked for the British newspaper as a journalist and correspondent. Then, in 2002, she decided to retire to her property in Essex region with her family in order to write only romance novels. In addition to Me Before You, Mrs. Moyes has also written other successful novels such as The Last Letter from Your Lover, The Girl You Left Behind, Silver Bay, Honeymoon in Paris, After You, and The 1+1. Released by the English publishing company Penguin Books in 2013, Me Before You managed to sell over 9 million copies in a few months and was translated into more than 100 languages, becoming the latest global literary phenomenon. The writer, who did not expect to top the bestseller book chart in such a short time, declared that the novel is based on a real story she once listened to on the radio by chance. A successful young British rugby player became paralyzed for the rest of his life and asked his parents to bring him to a place where people can find the mercy killing, that is to say, euthanasia. The novel starts with a flashback in which the male character, Will Traynor, a young and rich successful entrepreneur who loved his life, was hit by a high-speed vehicle in the centre of London. He survives the accident but becomes a paraplegic. His life is confined to his own home in a wheelchair. And even for the simplest actions, such as getting out of bed, he needs his nurse Nathan. The sporting activities he did before the accident had occurred are just a mere memory he relives in his dreams every night. He seals an agreement with his parents. If they're capable of providing him with just one reason to stay alive within 6 months, he will give up on going through with the assisted suicide in a Swiss clinic. At this point, the female protagonist comes on the stage, Louisa Clark, a 26-year-old girl living in the little rural village and dating a selfish personal trainer named Patrick. She is desperately looking for a job because she needs to help her broke family. Mrs. Traynor hires her as a carer for her son, for she tries to establish a good relationship with Will straight away. On the contrary, Will does not enjoy Lou's company and treats her with disregard.
Just go and raid your grandma's wardrobe or whatever it is you do when you're not making tea.
You don't have to be an arse. Your friends got the shitty treatment, fine, they deserved it. I'm just trying to do my job as best I can. So it would be really nice if you didn't try and make my life as miserable as you apparently make everyone else's.
And what if I say?
At the end of a heated argument between the 2 young people, Will admits he was wrong and changes his attitude towards Lou. Both of them become more and more acquainted day by day. When Lou realizes Will wants to commit suicide, she intends to change his mind. She involves Will in some open-air activities like going to a racing track or attending an oboe concert. As many expert writings and a series of online forums on tetraplegia advise. Failing these first attempts, the girl proposes a wonderful, luxurious trip to the Mauritius Islands. Mr. and Mrs. Traynor accept, so Lou, Will and Nathan can leave. The holiday is truly amazing, and also Will is having a lot of fun. Eventually, Louise and Will fall in love. Unfortunately, the end of the book is not as happy as the holiday. Will decides to commit suicide in the Swiss clinic anyway, but writes a lovely letter to Lou, who will read after his death. Apart from granting her a huge amount of his fortunes, he encourages her to live boldly for the rest of her life, even without him. In 2016, a box office motion picture was based on this book. However, as it usually happens, the film has some discrepancies with the book. Firstly, the book is written using an impersonal style, as the author wants to provide a general background in order to avoid a character spot prevailing on the others. In the film, on the contrary, Lou tells the whole story through her eyes and perceptions. Apparently, the film shows how Lou has a peaceful relationship with her family, but the book makes it clear that there are many internal conflicts, as Louisa is considered as the least intelligent daughter who must sacrifice her life to allow her older sister Trina to study at the college and take adequate care of the child she had had in a one-night stand. Also, the love relationship between Louise and Patrick is not deeply analyzed, though both versions highlight how Patrick cares little for his girlfriend and is more self-centered and focused on his job as personal trainer and life coach. Even the relationship between Mr. and Mrs. Trainer has been softened in the film, because they always look sorrowful and try to be as much present in Will's life as they can. However, in the book, Camilla Trainer conceals her sorrow for her son by focusing on her job, whereas Stephen Trainer avoids his house as much as he can and cheats on his wife with several women. Some acts of foolishness Lou and Will had done in the book were cut off in the movie. For instance, Lou and Will visit a tattoo shop, and while she tattoos a bee on her hip, he tattoos the so-called expiry date, that is to say the day of the accident, on his scar-filled wrist, which he tried to cut. In conclusion, the final scene in Paris has followed all the details cited in Will's letter at best, but there is just one main difference. The testament Will left at the family solicitor, stating that all the people being present at his voluntary act of death are not liable, is not mentioned. Undoubtedly, Me Before You's main theme is euthanasia. The personal decision on how to end one's own life is still generating lively debates all over Europe. At the moment, euthanasia is legally recognized only in the Benelux states, and assisted suicide is legal only in Switzerland. Italy, as well as Great Britain, does not have a regulation allowing a mentally fit person to decide how to end a person's life. Whoever wants to die by no natural causes is obliged to go to Switzerland. Whoever escorts the suicide is found guilty for incitement to commit suicide and risks being sentenced up to 12 years in prison. 3 Italian cases have provoked different reactions: Eluana Englaro, Pier Giorgio Welby, and Fabiano Antoniani, known as DJ Babbo. The latter has a story that is pretty close to Will's one. Mrs. Moyes also wants the lector to dwell on another harsh but essential theme: the attachment to life. Will does not have another chance. Louisa does. That is why he encourages her to live day by day, thinking like there is no tomorrow. His ideal embodies the concept of carpe diem par excellence. Not only is it one of the Latin poet Horatius' most famous speeches, but also one of the most influential philosophies in human history. Indeed, the last hope Will expresses to Lou is...
Just live well. Just live.